Hello, I'm Louraiseal McDonald, Family and Community Health Agent. Today I have with me Ms. Dawn Burton for Prairie A&M. And today we will talk about, did I say that? Exploring microaggressions and unintended offenses.
We are speaking from resources titled Flip the Script, Race and Ethnicity in the Workplace, and Create Connections, Not Conflict in Tough Conversations by Catalyst.org. And words are powerful. Even with the best intentions, we can say or do things that shut down dialogue before it gets started. It is especially easy to do this when the topic is sensitive, controversial, provocative, or we can say and do things that are offensive and hurtful. It is important to get past these hurdles and recognize that our words matter. We need to have these tough conversations to understand and bridge differences and to successfully collaborate in teams and create inclusive environments so that people can feel that they are valued, that they belong, and that they are heard.
Here's an example. I've often heard people say, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. This is very unsupportive because it shuts down a conversation. It doesn't allow for any disagreement or the safety to call out others' missteps. It makes it difficult to give honest feedback that can help others learn. What should we say instead?
Well, instead, I would suggest saying, I want to hear what you have to say, even if it may be difficult. Because it's important to be supportive of tough conversations by encouraging honesty and transparency, even when what is being shared may be challenging to hear. So here's something that I hear people say: we don't see color, only people. And the problem is that ignoring differences can stifle trust, authentic communication, and your ability to connect with someone who is different from you in some way. It is not racist to see a person's race or ethnicity. It is, in fact, a natural tendency. Avoiding conversations about race to maintain neutrality will not create an ideal work environment for all employees. So, what do you suggest they say instead?
I would suggest ask your colleagues who have a different racial, ethnic, or cultural background than yours if they feel your workplace honors their identity and experience. Here's another statement I've often heard people say. I've heard this already. This is not curious. This sounds very dismissive. It can be hurtful to suggest that your colleagues' feelings, perspectives, or experiences do not deserve to be heard. It implies that you think you know it all and can't possibly have any more to learn. So, what should we say?
I suggest saying, this is what I know. Help me understand what I might be missing or getting wrong. It's important to show curiosity by asking questions, being open to new or different perspectives, and being willing to go beyond what is familiar or comfortable. Listening to and acknowledging the emotions of others lets them know you're interested in their experiences. So here's something else. You are so articulate. Now, this implies that you had lower expectations, possibly because of the person's race or ethnicity. And the research says that this reinforces the stereotypes that people of color and ethnic minorities are less competent than their white counterparts, and that those who are successful are an exception to the rule. What do you suggest people do instead?
Instead, I suggest we provide concrete examples of why and how you felt the individual excelled. For example, your presentation was very motivating and it aligned with all our business goals very well. Here's another comment I've often heard people make. That happens to me, and you don't hear me complaining about it. That's not too empathetic. It downplays the challenges people face. It suggests their feelings and perspectives are not valid, creating an empathy gap. Signals that you are unwilling to see the difference between your experiences and those of others. What should others say?
Instead, saying, I think I face something similar, but it sounds like it impacts you differently. Tell me more about why it affects you that way. Because when you express empathy by showing that you understand and appreciate another point of view or experience, you can actively listen to the meaning of others' words to deepen your understanding of their perspective. So here's another example of something people say. She speaks English well. And the impact of this, it insinuates that racial or ethnic minorities are outsiders who can't speak English and don't really belong where they live or work. And research says that people of all races and ethnicities can speak English well. So what do you suggest they do instead?
Instead, unless the person has previously struggled with the English language and has made vast improvements, it is better to congratulate your peer on the content of their work. Here's another comment I often hear people make. There's no point in talking about this. This is not too courageous because it sends a message that you are unwilling to engage in dialogue. It suggests that the goal of understanding each other better is not worthwhile, when in fact it can help build inclusion. What should we say instead?
I suggest to make a real change, we have to understand each other. That takes talking and importantly listening to each other to build bridges, to bridge our differences. Let's start there. Communicate courageously by acknowledging that talking about some topics is challenging, but that you are open to doing so, even if it is difficult. Demonstrate that it is safe to bring sensitive issues up with you. So something else that's been said is you are overly sensitive. And the impact of this, that it shuts down authentic conversations by disempowering and shames people by diminishing their experiences, feelings, and self-worth. And research says that minimizing another person's experiences can raise tensions, lead to defensiveness, and reinforce exclusion. What do you suggest they do instead?
Instead, we should step into another person's shoes and learn more about their experiences. For example, I recognize that this is important to you. I like to understand more. Here's another comment I often heard people make. I'm not sexist, but it's not too accountable because it's opening the statement with denial and shuts down candid conversations and says that you are unwilling to explore your potential blind spots. What should we say instead?
Instead, try something like, I acknowledge that I have biases that may be bubbling up here. I'd like to have a courageous and honest conversation to help me uncover my blind spots or see things from a different perspective. Demonstrate accountability by taking responsibility for how your words and actions affect those around you. Invite feedback to learn how your impact might be different from what you intended. So in conclusion, some suggestions in general are to pay attention. Are your words authentic, thoughtful, and carefully chosen, yet not so stilted as to stifle open discussion? Learn from others. Ask your colleagues if they have ever experienced or witnessed biased behavior. What did it look like? What was said? Also, be accountable. Ask a colleague, can I count on your help to give me honest, constructive feedback if I use words that are hurtful or offensive to you in the moment or later on?
Here are 3 more helpful tips. Number 1, be open. Start with an open mind and invite conversations by asking questions. Respect and affirm your colleagues' views, even if you disagree or their views are different from your own. Number 2, lead with intention. Use your words and actions to purposefully create different opportunities for dialogue. Rethink the "I tried once and it didn't work" mindset. It takes time to build trust and connection. Continue to assume positive intent. And finally, number 3, be a role model. Inspire others to connect across the divides through your examples. Seek to learn, even in tough situations, and encourage others to do the same. We would like to thank you both for tuning in. If you have any questions, let us know. Thank you.